The whiskey boom has been absolutely nuts over the last few years, and nothing shows that more than a good old Blanton single barrel. I mean, come on. John Wick uses it as a painkiller in one freaking movie, and it's through the roof. Like, it was already hard to get, and now it's unobtainium for an awful lot of people. But I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The better looking the bottle, usually the worse the whiskey, but this is one of those rare exceptions. Like, Blanton's is a good bottle of whiskey. You like a Blanton's?
Yes, and I love the bottle.
If you don't like Blanton, like, I understand you don't like the hype or you don't think it's worth the hype, I'm down with that. If you're like, hey, this is not, the whiskey in here is not worth the hype that it gets, I agree with that. But it's hard to argue that this is a fine whiskey, but it's a fine whiskey that most of y'all are never going to be able to get. So we want to give you 7 alternatives to Blanton's that you might actually be able to find. Although I didn't vote on these. Like the patron Discord, we put these out for vote. There are a few on here that are gonna be equally hard to find, but we're gonna group all of those together. We are batch filming a bunch of videos because we're gonna be gone filming a bunch of bourbon hunting stuff. So we're running out of Glencairn, so just ignore the letters. Just ignore the letters. We did just break a C.
You don't
We are one C. We are 1 C short. I'll turn it around this way. Hopefully, now it's a backwards F. But number 7 is Woodford Double Oaked. To me, Woodford Double Oaked is a very different experience than Blanton's. So I don't consider this an alternative in that it's a similar experience, but I do consider it an alternative as far as like, this is a regularly available, fantastic whiskey that is of similar quality to me.
The color is beautiful and the smell is awesome.
I feel like you're bogarting the glass there. You're
Yeah,
just like hoarding the glass. We're running out of Glencairn, so we're gonna have to
first,
share.
Thomas.
You're doing really good.
Ladies
Take your time.
first. That's delicious.
That is so good.
That is really good. Now, I will say, it doesn't have the proof that I normally like.
90.4 proof.
Compared to other 90 proofs that I've had, this one gives me something that at least I can enjoy the taste without the proof.
Yeah, Blanton's is only, what, 94 proof on these guys here? So 93 proof, sorry, 93 proof. I don't think this bottle should, this is one of the, again, rare exceptions where I don't think this bottle should be released at a higher proof. I mean, I would try it. You gave me a higher proof, I would try it. But it's at 90-ish proof. It's got a great balance of oak and vanilla to me. And so it's really interesting and complex, and at a higher proof, I feel like the oak would dominate.
You think so?
I think the oak would just own it.
You may be right, but I don't know. I wouldn't be against seeing a little bit of higher proof on this.
I mean, I wouldn't be against seeing it, but like I've got a double oaked. What is this? This is like one of the limited releases double oak, and it is also 90.4 proof.
I just really love this one.
That's a great whiskey. So if you've never had Woodford Double Oaked, try it.
That was delicious.
It doesn't taste anything like a Blanton's, but it's a good alternative. It's a good whiskey you can get that you can actually go find that is similarly priced to what Blanton's is at MSRP, although most people are not paying MSRP these days.
I would be interested to see these ones that they picked in a blind against Blanton's.
I'd be able to pick that versus Blanton's any day of the week. Like, I'd know that. I would know that bottle if you gave it to me in a blind. At Blanton's, depending on if you put another Buffalo Trace in there, I might not be able to pick it up, but that one I would pick out. Number 6 is one I'm interested in, and that is Blade and Bow. Back in the day, like it's been a while since I've had a bottle of Blade and Bow. So this one's brand new. I'm trying to pop the... I'm trying to do it the hard way, or the easy way, I guess. This one is one that has a kind of similar flavor profile. They do similar gimmicks here. Like you've got the, the bottle with the collectible stopper. They have collectible keys and, an interesting bottle shape. I don't think they did quite as good a job as Blanton's did with it, but the flavor profile is similar. Like this is a very sweet bourbon. So we did go pick up this bottle just for this video because I haven't had one in a while, just to see how it stacks up. So I'm interested to see, now that I'm a little further in my bourbon journey, how does this stack up? Because I don't think I've had one in a couple of years. And I don't know if you've ever tried this one.
I wouldn't say that I like it better than the Woodford. There's some sweetness there.
It has just a little bit of harshness to me that makes it not better than the Blanton's. Like I don't think this is as good as Blanton's.
I can't remember. Like,
But it's a fine whiskey that is a little more available, a lot more available than Blanton's.
it's a lot more available.
So this is a little more one note for me. I like whiskey that has some evolution to it. I want like some fruit on the front, some oak on
You
the
want an
finish.
experience.
I want things go, and this is good. This is fine whiskey. It's just all kind of one note, and I get just a little bit of harshness on the finish. Definitely worth trying if you've never had a Blade and Bow, but again, to me, doesn't stack up to Blanton's as far. I think that Woodford is more on the Blanton's level, although it's a much different experience. This is more trying to be that Blanton's level of experience, and it's good, but they just haven't pulled it off. I am not a janitor, despite what it may look like, which is why I'm excited that Ekster reached back out to us to talk about their new key case. Now, if you don't remember, Ekster's the awesome company that upgraded my wallet to the sleek Senate card holder. It holds up to 15 cards plus a little cash, and then it opens like a freaking switchblade ninja. So I'm always looking cool when I'm buying bottles of whiskey. I mean, I always look cool anyway when I'm buying bottles of whiskey. It's made of aluminum, but it's wrapped in this awesome leather, and it also protects my cards from wireless theft, which is extremely useful with all the travel I'm doing lately. Their new key holder is just like their card holder. It holds up to 8 keys in this sleek design, and it's made out of premium leather and stainless steel. And the keys slip out all stylishly and silently instead of you doing this at the door all night. And best of all, they've got this key tracker add-on that'll make sure I never lose my keys again. Right now, you can save 25% thanks to our partnership with Ekster by using code Brewzle at checkout or going to shop.ekster.com/Brewzle. Let's get back to that video. Number 5 is Russell's Reserve 10, which again, completely different experience. Like the thing is Blanton's is its own thing. You're not gonna find another whiskey unless it's made by Buffalo Trace that is really similar to Blanton's. This is Russell's, made by Wild Turkey. Russell's tends to have a little bitter oak once it gets a little older to me, so I do oftentimes get more like bitter oak notes, but I love a Wild Turkey, and Russell's is just a higher end Wild Turkey.
I would just say it's okay.
Wow.
Here we go again.
He's leaving me all alone.
I'm using you as a human shield on the comments.
It does have a good like finish, like an after taste.
I prefer the Russell store picks. I don't know if I have a Russell single barrel over there. What's the proof on that? This one is 110 proof. Let's try this. I want you to try this single barrel right here against that one. Now this single barrel's been around for a long time. I don't know, this single barrel could vary, but it's 110 proof, non-chill filtered.
The nose is like much better already.
But again, we're going to 110 proof versus like we're trying to find an alternative to a 93 proof whiskey.
Right,
so I understand how not fair that is.
Yeah, you can't go.
But I just get insanely curious as to Jill's thoughts on Russell's Reserve single barrel. You hating on that too?
No, that's got some nice
It's got some girth to it.
Got a little bit of proof to it.
See, that's the Russell I'm drinking. That's a Russell I'm drinking. These are good. These are good, but
this one, like, I need the taste the like caramel and the, oh yeah, this one's good. That one.
I would prefer a Blanton's to the Russell's Reserve 10.
10, yeah.
I'm not sure if I would prefer it to the single barrel.
Oh, this one's good.
Jill's going to drink all that single barrel now. And number 4, Four Roses single barrel. Now we had a little cork issue. Technically, we did not have a cork issue with this bottle, but I had a cork issue with a tier 6 single barrel strength that is extremely valuable and delicious. And I sacrificed this cork for that bottle, and I put the broken cork in this one. I need to rotate my bottles a little better. Every once in a while, you got to kind of turn them on their side so the corks don't dry out. So let's just like see if that cork won't dry out right there. Let's just do it right now and see if we can just reinvigorate that cork.
That smells nice.
Four Roses is a good whiskey. I would think this is on level. A lot of these are going to be on level to a Blanton's. This one is a 48-2V, so it was a tier 2 Four Roses. What do you think? That's a nice bottle.
Yeah.
I would say, as far as like the quality level of a Blanton's, and the experience of a Blanton's, this one is as close as we've come. It's got a nice fruitiness up front, a nice oakiness, probably a little more oakiness than the Blanton's has.
That's
a good bottle.
Better than the Russell's 10, like a lot better.
Okay, a lot better.
Yeah, a lot
We went with a lot better.
Now,
y'all direct your comments. Just make sure you say Jill. First letter in your comments, or first word in your comments there. Don't give Jill any hate.
Sending me the haters?
I'm just saying, if you
send me the haters.
Listen, if you got hate, just have a nice day.
Yeah.
Just move on.
Just move
It's
on.
cool. Like, don't drop Jill. Jill doesn't want the hate. I don't want the hate. But I'm saying if you've got some constructive criticism, just put Jill in the first word.
He is selling me, like just throwing me under the
There's
bus.
a lot of Russell lovers out there, Jill.
I
a lot of
didn't
Russell
say it
lovers.
was bad. I'm just saying I would prefer Four Roses.
You said you didn't like it. No,
one.
you said you didn't like it.
I didn't like the first one.
The
Which
Russell's
one was that?
10.
The 10. I didn't like the 10. The Reserve is good.
Okay.
The Four Roses,
That's where it's at.
Really
Single
good.
barrel. And these are pretty readily available.
Really good.
I don't remember
I really
what I
like
paid
it.
for it, but it's I think it's cheaper than the Blantons and it's more readily available. So this is the closest we've gotten, I think, to that Blanton's experience with a really nice whiskey that's available. All right, so number 3. Actually, we're gonna do 3, 2, 1 all together.
Whoa.
Because I didn't vote on these. I didn't, like, these are all coming from y'all. Like, y'all did this. And if you don't agree with these, make sure you're in the Discord or make sure you're a patron for Brewzle, and then you get to vote on these.
your voice can be heard.
Your voice matters, okay? So just get out and vote. We just went all political on it.
Let's not
But the
do
problem I have is that these 3 are also made by Buffalo Trace, and a couple of the 3 are also really hard to get. So it's like,
Oh.
I'm thinking a Blanton's alternative is like, I can't get Blanton's, but if you can't get Blanton's, you can't get number 3 on the list either.
Oh, okay.
And the reason you can't get number 3 on the list is because it's freaking Weller Antique 107. Like, that's harder to, like, what kind of voting are we doing here? I'm not even gonna try it. Because that blows Blanton's out of the freaking water. Like, this is not a fair contest. This is a 107 proof weeder from Buffalo Trace. This is not a Blanton's alternative. This is what Blanton's wished it could grow up to be. Y'all get a little crazy with the vote. And number 2 is similar in that it's Eagle Rare 10. Also hard to get. Is equally as hard to get. Actually, I probably find it this much more than Blanton's. And I could see how some folks would like this better. Like they would, like the Weller Antique, better than Blanton's to me, hands down, to me. You could have your own opinion. It could be wrong if you disagree with me. It's okay to be wrong. Like, it's cool. Like, every once in a while, everybody's wrong. I'm wrong sometimes. Not in this case. I'm wrong sometimes. If this were 101 proof, it'd be hands down better than that. But it's not 101 proof. It used to be. Now it's 90 proof. It's delicious. What's the last time you had an Eagle Rare?
I'm not sure.
Keep in mind, this is 90 proof. This is 10-year-old whiskey.
It
I don't think
has
Jill's ever had an Eagle Rare.
It has a really good nose.
Oh, it's got a
Oh
good,
my
it's
gosh.
got a good everything, Jill. It's like
No,
you.
that's like-
It's got a good everything.
Oh,
it's not just the
that's so
nose.
sweet.
I like the nose, but
like
the
the
rest of
nose?
you is pretty good too.
Thank you. Okay.
It needs to be a little spicier. A lot like you, it needs to be a little spicier.
Well, some of us just like to stay in our.
Some of you like to be bland. It's cool. Nothing wrong with that.
I think I'm bland.
No, not you. I wasn't talking about you, baby.
Oh my gosh.
I was talking about Eagle Rare.
All the hate directed toward TJ. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay, Eagle Rare. Nobody's listening, but if you are listening, I need this, but higher proof.
You need 101 proof. So I'm gonna.
I need higher. I
So-
don't know what it is, but
Here's the thing.
this is delicious.
Eagle Rare used to be 101 proof.
But
the problem is it was made by a different company. So I don't think it'll be this. Like, I want to buy an Eagle Rare 101 proof. I want to spend some, it's going to cost me some money, but I want to buy an older Eagle Rare 101 proof, but I just don't think it's going to be this same whiskey
Oh my goodness.
at 101. I just think it's different. It was made by a different company.
This is so good. But the taste is
You wanted it,
awesome.
you wanted
but
it
I just
17.
I
you
need
wanted
a little bit more.
So,
I need
Jill,
something different. Is
like
that
that is Eagle Rare 17. So that is 17-year Eagle Rare at 101 proof.
You-
This is
you
BTAC. So I just big timed everybody and brought out a $2,000
okay,
bottle.
So you want an
I want a
Eagle Rare
10-year.
10.
I want this is like a $35, $40
Oh,
bottle. This
because-
video's gone way off script.
we're
I'm sorry. I apologize for big timing and breaking out the really expensive whiskey when this was just supposed to be Blanton's alternatives. But my wife here is having an experience, and I want to let her. Half of that's mine, so don't get crazy.
I want Jill to have an experience, but I'm getting half of it.
I would like to have the experience with you, baby.
Yes.
This is a shared
Of
experience.
course,
Lord have
darling.
mercy.
Of course.
She says that she drinks all the Eagle Rare 17. But that gives you an idea of what this will taste like at 101 proof. Gives you a little idea.
But then this one was aged for 7 more years.
It's 7 more years. Yeah, it's definitely older.
Ooh.
Yeah, of course. Of course, ooh.
Wow.
I've been holding a good whiskey from Jill.
Wow,
I'm sorry.
that is really good.
Yes, this is good at 10 years. This is a really good.
Oh, it's really
arguably
good.
better than
Oh, yeah.
Blanton's. I could see how folks would like, and honestly, some days I like this better than Blanton's. At 101 proof, it would blow Blanton's out of the water.
How much is this?
This I buy them all the time at like 45 bucks.
And how much is?
Well, I mean, realistically, MSRP, this one MSRP, I think they've raised it $35, $40. That one MSRP is 100, 120. But on the secondary market, this is like 50 to 75 bucks. That one's like 1,700 to $2,000.
Yeah, you
yeah.
can get that.
The 10. Do the 10. Don't like this one's great.
If someone
The 10's
ever
really
offers
good.
you a pour of this one, though,
Could you offer me a pour of that one, please?
take it. It's delicious. Good night. That is really good.
I shouldn't have brought that out.
That is really
Oh
good.
my God! So the thing about, like, as far as BTECs go, that's the most subtle one. Like you got to really be. You need to be a couple of pours in, but not too many pours in, because it's really awesome and subtle. So number one is another Buffalo Trace product, but depending on where you're at, this one may be much more accessible than Blanton's, because most people are not walking into stores looking for it. This is John J. Bowman Single Barrel. So Sazerac owns this. Sazerac owns Buffalo Trace. Sazerac also owns the Bowman Distillery up in Virginia. Supposedly, somebody correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, I'm sure they will, they always do, but they take the Buffalo Trace distillate and they ship it already distilled to Virginia, and they distill it again in what I think is a pot still, and they then barrel it and age it. So it's Buffalo Trace, but it has a much different flavor. I think it has more of a pot still flavor to it. I could be wrong about the pot still. I'm just like, I am off the cuff. I have no info, but it has a different flavor to me, much different flavor. It has the sweetness and kind of interestingness of some of the Buffalo Trace stuff, like a Blanton's, but it has a much more kind of, I don't want to say harsher, that's the wrong word, but just a different flavor. It's not as soft and sweet, but it is very similar. Like we are splitting hairs to say that doesn't taste like a normal Buffalo Trace stuff. I get just a little more, like I don't even know what that is. I don't know if it's the redistillation or the difference in climate.
That's pretty good though.
But I would agree that that is the closest thing you can get to a Blanton's on the market. If you're talking about flavor, this is 90, or this is 100 proof. So this is the closest thing
That's
you can
that
get.
little bit of spiciness.
Yeah, a little bit of extra
Yeah.
proof. This is the closest thing you can get to a Blanton's on the market. So y'all voted right on this one.
So y'all are getting the number one
But
right.
these can be kind of hard to come by. The John J. Bowman single barrels, I'm starting to see more Bowman, like I've got a Bowman Brothers port finish. I'm seeing more Bowman stuff around, but I don't see these everywhere. But you probably stand a higher likelihood of stumbling across one of these than you do a Blanton's, just based on the fact that everybody's looking for the Blanton's.
Yeah.
Do you want to try Blanton's compared to that?
Yes.
We're going to put it in this glass because we're out of Glencairns. That's where we're at in this world right now. You're going to try it in different glass. And this one is dump date 4/6/20 from Rick number 35, if y'all are curious. The letter of the horse, this looks like an S, and it is.
S.
It is an S. Just looking at, I've gotten to where I can almost tell the letter by the way the guys pose there.
This one's definitely the closest you can get. Out of the ones
Yeah,
we
that's
tried.
very similar. So
They're very similar.
I get a little more like bright fruit, almost like
Yeah.
apple on the
I
Blantons.
don't get as much spice.
This is a little darker, and it could be the proof difference.
Yeah, I think it's a proof.
but
get a little
very
bit
similar.
more
Like that-
spicy hotness on the end of that than this one. But they're very, very similar.
If those were in a blind,
That'd
I
be
could screw
hard.
that up.
That'd
Like
be
I
hard.
could see myself getting those wrong in a blind. They're at least that interestingly close. And this one has a lot of good things going for it that one does. I mean, it's got a beautiful bottle, that horseshoe-shaped bottle, but it's got the 100 proof that the Blanton's doesn't have. So I think the Blanton's is a little better on the flavor profile,
It is.
but this one
one-
has the 100 proof, which I
Yeah.
prefer, and so it's a little different experience, but they're very similar.
Marry those together.
So if you voted for these and you want to see something different, well then vote freaking differently. But if you didn't vote for these, make sure you're in the Discord, sign up for the Patreon, and we'll be linking to things like this. We've also got some exclusive reviews coming on our Patreon. I've got 14 or 15 bottles I'm about to shoot here in the morning that we're going to review, and we're going to release those regularly to patrons only. That's where you can get the most reviews from, like down and dirty, like kind of unedited, unfiltered. We can really talk about these whiskeys in a private setting with just friends and family. Appreciate you watching. Catch you in the next one.
Bye.